Yes, it is on. Hello, welcome back to Fieros. Yeah, Fieros, reborn. Forgot about that. Hi, hello. Okay, all right. I feel like I haven't been here in ages. Even though it was only like yesterday that I did my last video. Now, can you see my face? Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Whoa! Bing! No, let's not do that because as much as I like to appear as some kind of angel, um, lit from within, no. All right then. Hello. Let's carry on. Fieros reborn, but we are telling the story of Ross. He lives over to the left. Apparently, I'm gonna keep the screen up so I can see what my hands are doing, and I feel like I'm not in the right. Don't know what's going on. Like that's better. I'm not centered. I feel weird. I feel different to how I normally feel. I do feel different to how I normally feel because I've been reading this book called. I've been reading it like for about 5 hours, and I can't remember the name of it. Something about life purpose. The life you were born to live. I'm not going to go and get it because I want to stay here with you. Right now, in the moment, here we are. Welcome ye. Have a cup of drink. Have a drink of cup. Let's crack on. Yeah, and it's a cracking book. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. You know what's weird, right? Signs and synchronicities and all that stuff, eh? Right. You know what's weird? Yeah. Just keep the hands in the frame. I went out to Starbucks in Staines today because I felt like my internal path, journey, healing journey, processing journey got interrupted when my last big relationship came along. I was still in the middle of processing all the relationships that had come before, right? And all of a sudden this person materializes like literally kind of out of the blue. She was someone I was tangentially aware of. She was the sister, she is the sister of my best friend. Man, that sucks calling him my best friend because he's a bit of a dick from time to time. But I guess he is my best friend. Fuck's sake. No, he's not, is he? He's one of my very, very good friends, to the point where it feels like a brother, like an actual brother, you know? I have friends where I feel very close to them, but this person feels more like a family member than um, than a friend, if that makes sense. So family friendness. So he feels like very close to who I am or where I come from. And it sounds weird, but it just feels like he comes from a place that I understand. And I have another friend who comes from a place that I understand, but it is a different type of place. And I don't feel like he's my brother in that sense, but I feel like this guy is my brother. Yeah, so his sister shows up randomly on Christmas Eve 2016. And I was in the middle, I was like right in the middle of this long term healing process to do with relationships, to do with resentments and to do with processing and to do with catching up with myself and letting go of previous relationships and the traumas and also the like letting go of holding on too tightly to the joys as well, because you can obsess about how great something was and you can hold on to how amazing that previous relationship was, um, in a way that blocks you from seeing the goodness in a new person, if that makes sense. So I was like letting go of the good things, or putting them into their proper place so that they had a sense of neutrality or uniformity, so that they were not equanimity, I suppose is a good word, so that the good and the bad all felt like contained and had the same energetic charge. Whoa, we're getting deep now. Energetic charge, yeah. So each experience with each person it was a kind of process of neutralizing the energetic charge of those experiences, so that a memory or any trigger point associated with that person would elicit a similarly dealable energetic experience. So let's say I think about my first long-term girlfriend, and initially the process was feelings of longing, disconnected from her, feeling like I missed out on stuff, feeling like I fucked it up, you know, feelings of loss, feelings of tenderness, some feelings of obsession. I think I said longing as well. Did I say longing? Yearning, um, some anger, bitterness, resentment, hatred. I'm going to put hatred in there, even though that doesn't feel completely right, but let's put it there. I always err on the side of just chuck it out. You know, if I have the thought, just chuck it out. Okay, hatred. So all these feelings associated with that person, and then another aspect of it was feeling as though we're talking about Mrs. A, by the way, in this little part. So feeling as though she and I had a similar or the same emotional core, spiritual core, to us, and that there was a sense of contrast between when I felt connected to her and how she manifested in my experience, and there felt like I just became aware of her energy. Basically, I felt like she was bugging me. That the sensation of Mrs. A kept showing up in my life. So it would show up in how another person in my life was speaking, and I'd go, "Oh, that reminds me of Mrs. A," and it would show up in how I was speaking, or how I was moving, or how I was feeling, or it would just come over me like a sort of sense that she was with me in some way, or that I was manifesting like her, or I was being her. Does that make sense? I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but where you feel as though you have temporarily become either extremely like another person, that you're reminding yourself of that other person in the way that you're behaving, or that you feel as though kind of you've slipped a little bit from who you are and you've become someone else temporarily. Like a great example of this would be where you notice you're acting or being exactly like your mum or exactly like your dad, and you go, huh, oh shit, I'm my mum. I am my mum right now, or I am my dad right now, or or like, um, oh my god, I'm totally Hitler. I'm totally being Hitler right now. See, I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but I've had that experience where um, I'm sure I have had that experience. I tend to get it more with friends, where I sort of take on their energy and I realize, oh my god, I'm totally being this person right now. I used to get it a lot with Mr. B as well. His energy would come into me and I'd feel like, oh god, I'm being so Mr. B right now. I'm being so him, and I don't like that feeling. I didn't like him overall, and then it's coming to me, and all that feeling of insecurity that he had seems to have been kind of gunked onto my aura, and all of a sudden I'm feeling it, and I'm like, ah. Oh. So anyway, I was going through this massive, long processing journey to do with, well, it started with money, then it touched into my parents, and then it moved on to my intimate relationships and my sex life, and now I'm working on my career um, as one of my focuses, and I'm still working through specific people who I'm processing what happened. And what is processing? What is processing? I can tell you the way I do it. I write. Mainly I write about what happened. So it depends like at what level I'm at with the processing. So usually it will start off in a fairly unintelligible way, like I'm angry, for example, or I'm sad, or I'm hate-filled, or I'm bitter. These very raw uh, and powerful and fractured emotions. So it will just come out like, fuck this person, fuck this person, or why have you gone? Why? Or like, what a bunch of dicks, So it'll be like very fractured. And it may even get to the point where I'm just scribbling on the page. I'm not even writing. I'm just like, fuck this. Yeah. And so it will start off like that. And as I work through the process of those feelings, so it means experiencing those feelings and drawing them out quite literally with the pen onto the page, writing them out, drawing them out, whatever. That's another thing I used to do. I haven't done so much as drawing my feelings. I mean, I do it, but I'm not doing it with much specificity. Oh man, come on, specificity. All right, we're gonna get this word. Specificity, specific, specificity. Yeah, come on, let's get the dictionary out. Specificity. It is a word. I open it on the page that says psycho. Great. Specificity. I know how to say it as well because I've heard other people say it, but I don't think I've ever said it before. Specific. Come on now. What are we doing? Specific. Specify. Specifying. Specified. Specimen. Where's the word? There is a word. Specific. Specificity. Specific. Right, here it is here. I've got it here. Specific. No, there's too many parts to it. They're all the same. They're all specificity. I knew that was what it was. Specificity. What does it mean again? Oh, whatever. Well, how did it even come to that thing anyway? Specificity. I draw without much specificity. Yeah, I'm just drawing a bit more like I'm just drawing my feelings without giving it a topic. So I used to give my drawings a topic. So I was specifically working with a sense of specificity, yes, on a particular topic, like money or sex or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so what am I talking about? Fieros reborn. Let's eat this. Satin floss for the taste of dreams. Casting it aside like a hollow bone. Welcome to the channel. Here goes from a serious discussion about the emotional healing processes of life to flossing. Hello, Flossie. Flossie Rossi. Okay, let's put that down. We've had enough now. Let's. Oh yeah, this is what I'd be like if I have a nose piercing. I have a giant one. Oh, that's good. Come on now. Right. Bing. Right. That was a good sound. Let's do that again. Bing. Oh, fuck it. Bing. Okay. Whoa. Bing. Okay. Hi. What am I doing with my life? Oh. Let's check if I'm on camera or not. Yes. Shit. Okay, come on now. All right, we've wasted enough time. Oops, I now put it down. Yeah, so I was in the middle of this giant trauma processing thing of relationships and everything. But specifically, damn it. Come on. Specifically, I was working through relationships by starting at the beginning of the most important relationships that I'd had and writing a little bit about each person until I felt like, okay, I'm over it now, like, yeah. Because I'll have you know that you, whoever you are, probably aren't fully over every person you've ever been with. Or every person who's ever meant anything to you, you probably still are attached to them in some way. You're probably still holding on to something of them, which means that they are somehow weighing on you a little bit. Like that you probably, I'm going to wager 100% of all of you who are watching are attached to someone in your life such that they have some level of negative influence on you to the in a way that you are not detached from. So you can have like a negative feeling come up, but that you allow that to be there, and it doesn't come with a sense of you being harmed. So you get there's a negative feeling, and you go a bit like, oh, okay, hello with the feeling, and you go like, there's the negative feeling, I can feel it, but I don't feel like, oh no, my world is ending, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I'm guaranteeing you that there are people in your life who you are still attached to, that still have a subtle influence over you emotionally. Like if they showed up, think of someone who, if they showed up right now, would send you into some kind of twizzle, whether it's in the mind of like, oh my God, or whether it's in the emotions of like, oh my fucking, or you're like, ooh, faint. You know, if they showed up right now, if they walked through that door right now, unannounced, yeah, that you're going to have a little bit of a woo going on. Yeah, fuck yeah. Woo. They could be out there. No, they're not out there. Are they? No, they're not out there. Let's have a look. Hello, Mrs. A. No, she's not there. Oh, yeah. What is that? What's this rolling thing? What even is that? He says with a peg clipped to his chin. Will this go in there? This is it. Oh, it does go in there. Yeah. Ow! Fuck! Fuck you! You're harming me with your peg. No, the pain at the chin. Okay. So, yeah, so I was doing this massive process thing, and it got interrupted because she showed up. We can't give her a name just yet, but she showed up. This new person showed up, and I was kind of like, yay, because I was kind of desperate for sex. Oh no, don't do the arm thing because we know that doesn't work. I was desperate for sex, and I was desperate for a long-term relationship as well, because it'd been a while, it'd been like a year since I'd been in anything important, relationship-wise, and I was like, yeah. And she shows up, and I'm like, yay! But I was also like, because I was right in the middle of this whole thing, and it was really interrupted, and also the process or the progress of that new relationship really, wow, talk about a roller coaster ride of excitement and fuck this, yeah. So today I was lying in bed, and I was lying in bed for ages, which was strange. I mean, I don't normally just lie there. I lie there for a bit, but then I normally get up. I mean, it's like a Tuesday, yeah. It was a Tuesday. It has been a Tuesday. It was a Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday, and my general working schedule tends to be kind of Monday to Friday. But I sometimes cut it short, or I sometimes work randomly over the weekend, in like just as the mood takes me, kind of thing. Yeah, so it was Tuesday today, and I was lying in bed, and I'm like, why am I just lying around? Like, there's nothing stopping me from getting up. But then again, I didn't have a real like kind of idea as to what to do with the day. Normally, all of my ideas actually come from the feeling of inner knowing as to what to do. So I decide each day pretty much as they come. So it's like I'm lying there, and I decide what to do with that day based on what feels like a correct match for how I'm feeling in the morning. So I'll like go, oh, what do I want to do today? What do I need to do today, based on where my path is going, where my life is going, where I want my life to go, what I need to work on in terms of my healing and stuff like this. And what came out of just lying around, I was just lying around. I was like, come on, man, what are you doing? Why are you lying around so much? You know, you don't really need to lie around. But I was like, yeah, but there's nothing else that I actually want to do at the moment. And then something happened, which was strange. It was sort of like after a couple of hours, or even 3 or 4 hours, I don't remember how long exactly, of just lying around, kind of contemplating and feeling my body, and just didn't even have any external stimulation. I was just lying in the bed, like, looking around, looking around in my room, which I do that occasionally. But normally I've got something, like I'm watching something, or I'm reading something, or I'm listening to something, or I'm doing some activity. But this, I was just lying in the bed, which is strange for it to last for that long. And then after a few hours, I came to this kind of point where it was like I'd woken up from a strange creative coma, and I went, fuck, my process got interrupted when she came along. Oh fuck. And I remember what I was doing just before she came along, and all these like past projects that I was working on at that time suddenly bubbled up, and I was like, oh shit, I've been doing all this stupid stuff lately that is basically, that started as a response to all the grief that I was going through after the breakup with that person. I was like, this isn't where I was, like, the process was going to begin with. This is a response to like a kind of something, a major event that happened that I had to deal with, and I couldn't carry on the old process because this has totally interrupted it, and I needed to do some kind of emergency healing work with myself, which involved me going to Bournemouth for 6 weeks as well to try to get some respite, which I actually thought, I tend to think whenever I go somewhere else that it's going to be where I'm going to stay forever, but it wasn't where I was going to stay forever because I came back after 6 weeks. Anyway, yeah, so I was just like, ah, oh, shit. Oh man, I totally got disconnected from the path that I was on, where I had a certain, like, I was working in a certain way and doing certain practices, like this writing practice that I would do about certain topics, in a specific stream of conscious style of writing, and I was using that to generate lyrics for songs, which was going quite well. And I realized I'd never finished off the part about Mrs. A. And I also realized that I'd done the psych ward books, which had come out of this process before, and I've just finished those psych ward books now. And so I guess it's suddenly like, ah, shit, I need to return to back where all this came from and where I was going before I suddenly got derailed. In a way, it's not a derailing because it pushed me to look at other things. So it pushed me right deep into my body, that breakup, and helped me to quit smoking finally, which is awesome. I'm fat now though, comparatively to where I was. I'm fat by my standards, yeah. I'm fat by my body standards. Yeah. I feel fat. My body, my tummy is bloated. Yeah, so I was like, I lay in bed and I was like, fuck. And I suddenly got this kind of resentment feeling, coupled with a sense of like intuitive, I need to go back to this. I need to go back to where this whole thing started. And so I was like, rah, I'm going to do it the old school way. And I even kind of ripped up a few bits of crap that I'd been working on in this new style, because I realized that the way that I was working in the creative, I was drawing these cartoons and I was drawing these colorful picture things, and the cartoons, I'd realized I'd started to oppress myself. It's really difficult, right? I don't know if you're into anything creative, it's very difficult to find a balance for me personally between structure and chaos, or order and chaos. So having a plan and then jamming, like having a composition and then spontaneously improvising. So the two go hand in hand, and like usually the way it works is that a jam will inform a composition. So an improvisation will be the beginnings of something, and then you work on it in a more disciplined way in order to create a composition, like a focused piece of work that has a greater value than if you were just like jamming the whole time. You know, jamming and improvising can be great, and it's really fun. It's where the juice of things come from. It's where the seed of ideas sprout. But in order for it to grow into a fully blossomed tree, you have to really nurture your creative idea and kind of channel it, funnel it, and direct it, and hone and refine the idea in such a way that it is given more form, and it's given more shape, it's given more color, it's given texture, you know. And the problem with eternally improvising is that you don't you don't kind of, nothing ever comes to a full fruition. It's all very fun, but it stays on one level of intensity. It stays on like one plane, if you like, the improvisation plane, which means everything has the feeling of shitty jazz. Where you can never know what's coming next, so you can never feel comfortable and safe in what you're listening to or what you're doing. So you never can go, ah, this is familiar, I recognize this. And it still has this flavor of freshness and spontaneity to it, but there's a sense of also familiarity and certainty and homeliness, like you feel safe, you feel at home in the listening. So you feel affirmed by your listening to something or by the viewing of something. You feel like, yes, this reminds me of life, this reminds me of myself, this reminds me of who I am, in both the kind of knowing of life and the unknowing of life. So the inspirational aspect of creativity is an improvisational aspect, is all about not knowing what's coming next. So it's all uncertain, and it's all moving and flowing and jamming and buzzing and like bibbidi bobbidi boobidi bobbidi all over the place. And then you've got the other element, which is discipline and focus, and this channeling or refining process which comes along. And when you blend the two together, what you get is this this piece of work that surpasses both elements. Because if you're just rigid and structure without the improvisational aspect, then all you get is something that sounds dead and lifeless and mechanistic and boring and dull. But it's very technically refined, but it doesn't do anything for anyone. You know, it doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't say anything. It's just like listening or reading numbers that have no deeper purpose or meaning. And then you bring that together with the life force of the jam and the improvisational thing, and you go, yeah, and it makes sense. So the order and structure aspects bring sense and meaning to the bibbidi babbidi boo of shabba improvisation. And you bring them together, it's like, whoa, these things are working together. They harmonize and work with each other. So the improvisation brings life to the structure brings meaning and power to the improvisation. Okay, I just said a load of stuff there. That was unplanned, improvised. So these two forces are in constant conflict in a way, because they both demand their attention. So if you focus only on improvisation and jamming and neglect pinning things down and structuring them and ordering them, that this never goes anywhere, and it just flails around like a fish in a tree. What the fuck, man? Woohoo, you know. And no one can eat the damn thing because no one understands why it's there and what's doing it. Why is it, what the fuck? Why is a fish in a tree? Nothing wrong with a fish in a tree, but get down, get back where you belong, and swim around with everyone else with your jammy vibe. You know, keep the whoa, I've been in a tree, man, but like, you know, swim in the shoal. And then what am I talking about? Yeah, they're in constant conflict. I don't want to say conflict anymore, though. I want to say tension, creative tension between the two. Yeah. So this one is weak by itself, and this one is weak by itself, but combined, they pull like a magnet on each other, and they say, you know, bing bing, come on, yin and yang, baby, yin and yang, not yin and yang, yin and yang. So there, yeah. Can you feel that? And if one gets too much, then whoa, it's gone. So you got to have both of them. I hope you can see that. Let's check this out. Yeah. Okay. So I went. I wanted to go back to a more improvised feeling, which is what I was doing with this whole processing of life events and relationships was a very raw, unfettered, stream of consciousness way of drawing and writing. Because I realized that I'd been over structuring things. I'd put labels on my journals that said, this is what this one is about. Like, this is what this project is about. And then that had become narrow and too defined and too restrictive. And I was like, but now I have to do that in there. And I can't, I just want to stab it with a knife. Like, fuck this. So I just ripped off the labels and was like, right, let's go back to the old way. And I'm just going to do whatever I fucking like in there. So it's always in conflict because, like, if I didn't have some of that structure, I wouldn't have achieved, like, this whole, nearly a whole journal's worth. I mean, sketchbook journal, whatever. Sketchbook journals worth of, like, these completed, finished pieces. Because previous to that, I was doing everything in the improvisational, spontaneous, jamming flow way of things, and nothing was ever finished. Because there was no discipline applied to channel and nurture and grow and develop and refine the pieces that were coming from the spontaneous, improvised jamming of drawing and writing. Yeah. So I went rah, and what I ended up doing was buying this book. I did do a little bit of the creative stuff that I'd planned to do, but I realised it's not that important anymore. You know, the whole thing with Mrs. A, yeah, it's there, but it's not that important anymore. It's not life or death anymore. It's been neutralised somewhat. Yeah. So, with all that said, I was supposed to be talking about my trip to America and how I ended up getting to fucking psych ward. But actually, I'm going to save that for another video because I need a wee and I do need to stop. Remember this from the last video? It's like I'm praying to you, but I pray to you to please let me stop doing these videos. I want to stop doing these videos. I want to feel like I can stop. I can stop doing these videos and no one will die if I stop doing videos. I will not die if I stop doing these videos. I can stop. I can stop these videos. I can stop doing all videos for 2 whole years and I will be okay. And probably it will help my channel to grow overall because I can focus more on promoting what is already there than generating new content all the time. Yes, that's a good idea. Whether it'll work or not, I don't think it will actually work, to be fair, because the whole fucking thing with YouTube is it's all about generating new content, and you've got to, oh god, no one, I know this for a fact pretty much, that no one ever looks back through the videos as to what has already come before. They only want to know what is happening now, and like, it's always the new one. So as I've said in a previous video, this stuff here is just a reference mainly for me and maybe for my hardest core fans in the future who want to look back through what I've said in the past and go, oh, that was quite good. Yeah, because I know that no one really does that because it takes an inordinate amount of time and like leisure time, free time and interest and passion. I'm sure there will be some people who will look through everything I've done and just love everything I've done and like it'd be like food to the bee of their brains. Yeah, but most people are just going to be like, why ain't he doing any more new videos? Why has he stopped doing videos? Let's unsubscribe. All right, I'm done. I'm going for a wee. I can stop. 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 I can stop these videos. I'm going to stop this one right now.